For those who are new to the channel, I share videos and tutorials here on YouTube, and you can find free high-resolution photo references on my Patreon site. If you like what I do and you want to support me, you can show your love over at Patreon. So with every acrylic painting that I do, I always start with the background first. For this, the background is going to be cerulean blue, so I work that in. I don't exactly have a bigger brush, but if you have it, it's like it'll be just so much faster and cleaner. You can still see a lot of brush strokes in between. I had to go over that one more time, or a few times, just to make sure I got everything in. Then I use an airbrush and spray in all this little blurred out circles. It kind of gives this bokeh feeling. It's a little bit difficult to judge it because it's not yet complete, but I just keep doing it, keep adding layers, and then I think it looks alright, and then I draw the outline of the subject in. Then I paint the foundation, which I usually start with really dark colors because you want to create a realistic texture with the fur. So the thing about fur, the trick to it is actually layers and layers of it, because even if you look at fur, there's just so many layers to it. It's like a volume that, it just kind of builds up upon, and that is the same with painting. You have to go over it, and this is the foundations you have to block in the colors, and then after that it will be the tedious part, which is you have to keep adding textures on it, and it can go on for like 4 layers, so you have to keep doing the same thing like 4 times, with different shades of color, and that's how you get that fur texture. So the foundation color is just everywhere: tongue, fur, stripes. So I am adding the backlighting of the fur because we are going to build upon that. So how this works when I usually work with acrylics is I start with the background, and then after that I slowly move towards the foreground. And because backlighting, the light shines from the back, it illuminates the fur as the outline. So this is what happens, and then I will outline the tigers with like pure white, and then I add on the little orange like sunset kind of lighting to it, and then continue with the fur color. I add in a little bit black around here and there just to give it a little bit more depth, because the gray may not look like it's outstanding as much. Doesn't look like it's dark enough, so I added some black tones here and there where I felt like it needed to be darker. So what I'm using is a filbert rake brush. This is my go-to brush that really saves my life when it comes to fur texture, because if you ask me to paint every strand of fur, I just no. So this is my go-to brush. If I don't have this brush, you won't see me painting all these animal paintings, that's for sure. The hard part about painting is getting the consistency right. If it's too thick, your paint will trail off. If it's too watery, it will not give you the mark you want. Even up to now, each time I paint fur, it's still a challenge for me to get the consistency right. So you can see that I am adding lighter and lighter tones. From gray, it slowly moves on to white. From dark brown, it will slowly move to a lighter brown / orangey tinge. So you can see, it's the same thing again and again and again. And personally, if the piece I'm doing is a really big canvas, I can go crazy because you're essentially doing the same thing again. And mind you, this is actually just the first layer of fur. Okay, we haven't gone through like second or third. So sometimes, you probably have to do 6 if you don't have the amount of lighting right, or you mix the paint, it doesn't look like it pops out that much. So it feels a bit like, if you feel like it's not right, you just gotta keep adding those layers. So that's the beauty about acrylic, is that in some ways it's forgiving in the sense that, you know, like if you feel like it's not good enough, just keep working on it, you know. Eventually you kind of get the texture you want. Now I pay close attention to my photo reference because certain areas of the animal has longer fur compared to others. So for example, you saw I was working on the neck of the tiger, it looked really long, or the ears, but then after I moved to the snout, the texture, the fur on that is a lot shorter, so my brush strokes will be a lot shorter as well. This is really important because, you know, you're going for realism here, and if you don't follow how it looks like in real life, you know, people will look at you, people will look at your painting and they'll know something is off. They can't tell exactly what, but this is some of the things that you have to pay attention of, especially if you want to go realism. Sorry about the video quality here. I think my OBS was having a little bit of problem. Bear with me on this. So I'm slowly adding a little bit of highlights. I'm starting to get brighter tones in it, so you can slowly see that it's starting to look like it has volume. So now you can slowly understand what I meant in the beginning of this video. Like, it really needs layers and volume like real fur. Now the paint I use is Golden Artist Colors. I mostly like it because of its light fastness, and I do not exactly have like a dozen colors. I only have like a handful of colors, and I would mix them to get the color I want to, because I save on money, starving artist here. So yeah, from the foundation color, it was like black and brown, and then from here I kind of like added just brown for the second layer, and then the third layer was like a brown with white, a little bit of red and yellow as well, so that's why you have a little bit of orange. So it's just a lot of, I don't exactly have color swatches. I just like, okay, it looks like it needs a little red, it looks like it needs a little yellow. Okay, I hope that it turns out right, and usually it looks okay. I have certain artist friends that has like a whole, they actually make like a whole swatch of colors of the paints they got, and I'm just too lazy for that, honestly. I just like look at it with my eyes. I just kind of gauge like, okay, this looks right, all right, let's go with that. Adding more highlights, trying to make things a little brighter in certain areas. Sometimes you gotta gauge a little bit. Sometimes if you feel like the photo reference is a bit too bright, you gotta work on the contrast yourself. So that's the great thing about painting, is that, you know, it feels like sometimes photos are great, but a painting is something that goes beyond photography. You know, you try to have that magical touch to it, because this is anything, you know, painting can come from your imagination, something that photography cannot replicate. So if you feel, you know, you don't have to follow the reference photo to the T, it's just a reference photo, and then the rest is all your touch, how you interpret it. Then I did some final touch-ups with the tongue, the whiskers, a little bit of color bounce here and there, and voila! I like to thank my wonderful patrons for the month of November: Sangria Dracho, Shafi Roslan, Aaron Key, Giavo, Billy Paragon, Brogan Morgan, Abdul Halim, and Lamans. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to keep up to date with what I'm doing, I am most active on Patreon, or you can follow me on the following social media sites listed down below in the video description. That's all for today. Have a good time. Bye!